What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Jared's Books. I am Jared, and we are here on a Friday, taking a break from work and getting ready to kick off a mini summer vacation. Took the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off of the following week, and planning to take the kiddos to some water parks, ball game, that kind of thing. Have a little summer fun and try to remember who I am without a job. Which it's weird. Like you feel like you are your job sometimes, and it's you need to remember that you're a person, other than a job, which I think is important. But I don't want to go on a tangent. Why we're really here? Midnight in Chernobyl by Adam Higginbotham. Took me a while to read this book. It's a pretty long read. If you read all the extra like measurements and stuff, I think the actual book is like only 380 pages, but there's author's notes, there's a glossary, there's some scientific terms that you can learn. This book is a masterpiece of investigative journalism, hands down. I don't want to put it up there with like chaos. I think chaos is the holy grail of investigative journalism. But this one is definitely up there. It's a solid read. I definitely recommend it. If you think you have an idea of what happened at Chernobyl, you have no clue. Even if you've watched there's an HBO series. I mentioned this in the video leading up to this one, called Chernobyl. That does a great job following kind of vaguely what happened, but the book, Adam Higginbotham spent years interviewing survivors, scientists, Soviet officials, to come up with a massive a book of evidence of what happened, documentations, and things like that. It's incredible. So it does have some scientific sections in it, but no need to worry. Like, you don't have to be a nuclear physicist to understand how Higginbotham breaks down how a RBMK nuclear reactor works. He breaks it down very well to where, from a layman point of view, which I am, like you can clearly understand the science behind the reactor, the flaws that were in it, and what eventually led to it melting down. Some of I think the finer points of the book are those scientific sections. I really like that kind of stuff, data, science, um, and I like the way he broke it down. Broke it down very clearly to where you can understand it. You never felt like anything was going over your head. Uh, but I think the book's greatest strength is, it does a really good job humanizing the meltdown. And what I mean by that is you get to meet real life people that were, on scene. Like, you're going to get to meet and get to know, vaguely through, nonfiction writing, the operators that were working on the reactor that night. You're going to get to meet some of the poor firemen that responded immediately to the explosion at Chernobyl, and you're going to meet their family members and what they went through. You get to meet some Soviet officials and scientists that played key roles in trying to cover up the accident, the disaster to the world, and then you get to meet some of these scientists that ended up, I don't put it lightly, possibly saving the world. I mean, this thing would just be still leaking radiation everywhere if it wasn't for some of the efforts, some of the Soviet people and some of the scientists. So, what to break it down, on April 26, 1986, an RBMK nuclear reactor in what was Chernobyl, just outside of Chernobyl, in a town called Pripyat, Ukraine. They were trying to do a very long overdue safety test, and they were really stressing out the reactor past its breaking point, um, against the recommendations of other people, and they went ahead and did it anyways, and it exploded. And at that time, nobody knew how a nuclear RBMK reactor could explode, which Higginbotham describes at length what happened and what we now know happened. And then after that, Higginbotham breaks down the disaster minute by minute. It's really cool. So, like, it's a minute by minute of what was going on. It breaks it down by day and chapters later on. I will say that midway through the book, there's a little bit of a lull with the like the history of the Soviets' nuclear accidents and shortcomings. Apparently, this thing it happened before Chernobyl, which is kind of concerning, and it's a real eye opener into like this is the way the world works. Like as I'm getting older, you always looked to older people. Like I'm pushing 40, and you always looked up to grown-ups or older people like they had everything together. And then as you get older and you're surrounded by peers your own age, it becomes very clear that nobody has their shit together. And all this is kind of just hanging in the balance. Um, and this book really hits that home. Like, you think people have it together. It's very clear from this book that, and they don't. Humans make terrible decisions for a multitude of different reasons. Um, it's a great book. I took a break from it. It took me a long time to read because it does get heavy. I will tell you that. There's a huge section in here about the effects of the radiation exposure that the firemen that responded and the operators inside the plant went through, and it was depressing. So like really depressing. So had to take a break because you're just reading about. I mean, it's terrible what happened to these people. It was terrible what happened to. There's a bridge in Pripyat that's now called the Death Bridge. In the HBO series, you get to see a dramatization of it, but there was children, playing. They thought it was snow falling or something falling from the sky, and it was particles from a nuclear reactor core. Every single one of those people on that bridge died later on. Everybody that responded to this thing died pretty much, except for a handful of people. Some of the people that actually saved a bigger event from happening, even though you thought that they might die, they didn't. So it's really interesting. Like the effects of radiation, you get to learn about. I think everybody's different. It's really great. It's a great book. So scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it an 8.5 because Higginbotham's writing it's good, um, but it's a strange flow to the book, and it seems like the flow of the book varies from time to time. So I give it an 8.5, but I really really enjoyed it, and I really recommend it if you like Cold War history or Soviet secrecy, that kind of thing, or you're interested about Chernobyl, or you like science. I definitely recommend reading it. Just be advised, it is heavy. It can get depressing, but it's a shockingly eye opening into what happened with the disaster. So that's that. Great book. What I'm currently reading right now, and I can't wait to give this book review, and I hope it keeps hitting as good as it's hitting, is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. Man, this thing is scientific, high action, thriller. It's awesome so far. It's awesome. I mean, I'm ripping through this thing. I've only been reading it for like 3 days. I'm over halfway through it. I'll probably finish it in the next 2 days. I can't wait to give a book review on this, and I hope it just keeps going the way it is. I didn't like it at first. I didn't like the point of view in the story, but I got used to it, and it's when they refer to like a page turner, this is the definition of a page turner. It's probably why I've ripped through almost all of it. So those are the books that I'm reading right now. I don't really know what I'm going to read next. I thought about picking up another Steinbeck novel. I've read all of Steinbeck's work multiple times, but I'm considering reading East of Eden for what will be the fourth time, just because I really like John Steinbeck's prose, his outlook on the world. I really enjoy it. So There's some other books I'm considering reading. If you have any recommendations, drop a line, drop a comment. Let me know what's going on. If you're looking for something to read, you want to wash away maybe a bad fiction book that you didn't like, which was what I did. Pick up Midnight in Chernobyl. Good book. Eye-opening. Then go watch the HBO series. It's awesome. And then we'll get into Dark Matter here in a couple weeks after I get back from vacation. I know I said I'd put together videos a lot sooner than I had been, but I'm just terribly busy at work. And Midnight in Chernobyl, like I said, took me a while to get through. So, as always, we don't have anything written down. We come up here, we push play, we take a break from work, and I go on a tangent about a book I read. So if you enjoy this kind of stuff, give me a like, give me a subscribe, follow along, drop some comments. I like responding back to you guys' comments. I'd love to get some book recommendations. And as always, keep reading. Thanks for stopping by. Talk soon.